No.
Oh shit. Oh,
Oh.
it's from the ash.
In the ash.
Ah, bro.
Yeah.
It's alright.
That's right.
Take it to the dry cleaners. They'll figure out a way to get rid of that burn stain.
Oh shit. That's.
That's what happens when you're lit, bro.
I know, right? God damn.
Yeah,
I like this
damn, bro. Yo, high and by, bro.
Yo, that's alright. I hide that.
Nah, it's alright. It's all good. It adds to the character. The rustic nature.
The rustic nature.
It's the rugged Filipino.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We've all been burnt once.
Yeah. Twice, three times.
Three times.
Twice or thrice.
Yeah.
You know, these bloodsuckers like lice.
Ain't so nice.
Ain't so nice. We should hunt them down like mice.
Feeding on our head like lice.
Oh, bruh.
Not
Bars.
once, not twice, but thrice.
Bars. Bars, man. Oh, damn. Yeah, bro. Far. What a crazy time to be alive right now.
Oh, are we on?
Yeah,
Oh,
bro,
we're on,
we are
man.
on,
Like,
man.
oh, bro, tell me about it. This world, where it's going now. Where is it going now? Right?
God knows, man.
Like, since I've been here in Melbourne for just over a month,
Mm.
and from the time I arrived here,
Mm.
in the matter of a couple of weeks, and every day progressively, it's just flipped the script, and the whole world now the Australians are feeling it.
Yeah.
They're feeling the fear, like they're feeling the anxiety, the
Mhm.
collective consciousness of everything that's happening is really hitting home.
Yeah, man.
You know? And it's really affecting the livelihood of everyone.
Bad,
Like,
bro.
and yeah, like I just wish this world can get out of this, but we really need to work together.
I think so too,
Yeah.
man. It's,
Yeah.
it's an interesting one, the concept of working together.
Mm.
Because it almost feels like the longest time of not working together, if you catch my drift. You know?
Yeah, when everyone's sort of like looking out for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like even how the government or like institutions aren't working together for humanity's progression and the betterment of humanity.
Yep. No.
You know what I mean? And because of all those facts, and that's being ignored,
Mhm.
even, you know, has come and led to this.
Yeah.
You know, and it cycles as well. Like it's not just the people, but Mother Nature
Mm-hmm.
is taking it back. This wasn't just the coronavirus
No.
that started it. You know, the frequency of natural disasters has been happening for a long time.
Bad.
Like every year, it's getting like exponentially worse.
Yeah.
And like especially how we've been hit for like the fires since what, June,
Yeah,
July. Like,
yeah.
it's been gone for almost half a year.
Yeah.
And we've suffered. You know, like the country, like our country has suffered, like in Australia with the fires, and that sort of banded people. It was a good thing where it sort of banded people again together,
Mm.
and sort of like even the whole world started to look at it as like, oh, okay, people need help around the world, and everyone was starting to empathize with that and wanted to help the neighbors of the world. But now this thing now has come, and now everyone's not looking out for everyone else now. Like they have to look after themselves. Now we're forced to.
Yeah, bro.
Like there's no choice.
No.
No
No,
choice.
there's no choice at all.
Yeah.
It's crazy, hey, because straight after that, or during the same time, straight after that, like let's say in January, there was the volcanic eruptions.
Oh, in Taal.
In Taal, in
Man.
Batangas.
And that's our home. That's like
Yeah.
Australia, Philippines.
Right.
But I'm sure there's so much more other natural disasters that's been happening all around the world,
Yeah,
man.
there was stuff in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
There was, and there's a lot that is not really, we don't catch wind of because our news doesn't
That's right.
bother to tell,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or it's in passing and you don't even hear about it,
Yeah.
you know.
That's
and
right.
Then this thing has come through,
Yeah.
you know, just when I think a lot of us were banking on 2020 to be the year.
Man, like 2020, I was like, new year, new decade, new cycle, new everything. But this has really brought in perspective because it is a fucking new year and a new decade and a new cycle. And
Yeah.
it's the whole world is going to be affected and it's going to change.
Yeah, man.
It's
Hard
going to
out.
change how we live, how we operate, how businesses operate, how we communicate, like everything, man. Like, so that's why I felt it was really important to, you know, to empower people to be able to look within themselves and be self-reliant, you know, especially at this time. And, you know, there's always a duality in things.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, in light of what's happened, like with coronavirus, just the fact that, you know, aviation, you know, like lockdowns is happening, not much people going out, is a bad thing for people, like, because they're getting affected with, you know, disease and viruses and all that sort of stuff. But then in the nature-wise, like you see, like the pollution in China has dropped significantly.
True.
You know, and all around the world because of all the emissions and everything, it's actually giving back to Mother Nature, like letting it to breathe again. You know, so that's that duality.
That is exactly it.
Right.
I mean, if anything, though, it's allowing those people, it's allowing us to breathe. You know, I think you know, it's a bit of a subjective thing for me, but the earth is so powerful. You know, like we have destroyed these lands because we've built on them. But then boom, all it takes is like one massive swoop, one fell swoop, as they would say. One fell swoop, zoom. All of us are gone, and then the world will return. You know,
that's right.
But that's not an option for us. Most of us want to live, obviously.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And it's taken this kind of these tragic experiences right now to like wake up. You know, work's been thrown around a lot.
That's right.
But how many does this actually work?
That's right. I think it's been thrown around, especially in the modern society, where, you know, even going back to enlightened and Illuminati, that means enlightened ones, really, you know, and it's people that have risen above their mortal self.
Exactly.
Like, I really believe in energy.
Yes.
And frequency, and that we're all connected.
Yes.
Like with the powers of energy in the universe.
Yeah.
Right? Because everything's on a quantum level. Like, we're all made out of the same things, man.
That's exactly right.
Therefore, we're made out of the same things that the stars were made out of.
That's exactly
You know, that's
right.
why I really believe that we have the power within us to really... I have faith in humanity that because of that power we have within us, we can push through. And we can manifest whatever lives we have, like what we want in our life. But we, especially at this time, we have to collectively work together to make this happen. And we have the power to do that. But it's just, people need to realize this, and a lot of people won't.
No.
And they'll throw work around and say, I'm work, but do they really know the meaning of it? You know, and I don't think it's just a thing where, okay, your work, you're enlightened, you know, you got to that stage. It doesn't mean that you're always going to be there.
Exactly.
And it comes in cycles. Like, things will always come up in life.
Yes.
That you're going to have to deal with, which will, make you fall back to sleep.
Yes.
You know, and like go through your struggles again. But I think part of that process of being in work is that you're aware and present.
That's
and knowing how to deal with those things that come up. And empowers you, because the more you're able to deal with those things, the more power and willpower and discipline that you have within yourself, that you can grow and become better.
That's exactly
and
it.
through that, you know, I think that you're able to work through that. That's why I feel like I've been through this journey with everything that I've been through. Now it's like I want to share. I want to be able to share things that has helped me, like with the habits that I've put into my place, like, you know, like trying to be better myself every day with, like, you know, whether it's spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, and just having a positive mindset. Because regardless, like how I mentioned with duality, regardless of what's going to happen in your life, there's always going to be negative things, you know, but it's having that positive outlook, and how to deal with those negative things is important.
Exactly right. That is exactly right.
Because not everyone, like, I think there's just a perspective in people where they just want everything to be perfect.
Yeah.
Right? And something goes wrong and they freak out and panic, like fucking people buying a toilet paper.
Yeah.
Like all this stuff. People just panic and freak out. But, you know, like, I think if you're able to master yourself, you know, and in times of grief and struggle and times like this where the world is in real crisis, you know, you can rise above it.
Yes.
And don't let it consume you.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
That is exactly
and
right.
that's what we can do.
Yeah.
For you, that's what you have to do for yourself. Really, otherwise you're gonna feel and live in fear, and that will keep you in place, and not. It really debilitates your movement to move forward.
Exactly right.
Right, in your goals or whatnot. So especially at this time, you know, I think in a way, because we're forced to go back within ourselves, it really gives us an opportunity to look within ourselves and really be true in what we want to do and pursue in our lives. Because we're brought back to basics. Some people are going to lose their jobs. Like, how are they going to live? How are they going to pay their mortgage? How are they going to support their family? So it's really forcing them to look within themselves to really be self-sustainable, which what we were talking about before. Like, you know, like people they got to stop pointing fingers at external things to make things better. And they got to start looking here.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's the most powerful thing.
I believe so.
Because once you got this sorted, then you can sort out everything else.
That's exactly
and help
right.
out people.
I believe that so.
Yeah.
You know, it's really interesting because, you know, already from the get-go, when I first met you, you know, like, it's like, yo, this dude knows stuff, man, you know, because of certain words that you've said, you know, used, sorry, and, you know, there's one thing I really need to point out, and I think it addresses that issue of, like, people wanting that perfection side of things. People want to do everything positive, but they want to ignore or just put the negative things to the side, you know.
Right.
And if there's anything that people who are going to, like, move inward during these times, they're probably going to encounter a lot of negative things.
The thing is, it's a fact. It's inevitable. The fact that when you do start looking inside, which you have to do, those things that's inside you, that's all the darkness and skeletons, you have to bring it up to light.
Exactly.
Because if you don't bring it up to light, you're not aware of it. Then if you're not aware of it, you can't deal with it.
No.
Right? And I think that's a lot of people's problem, is that, yeah, they have a lot of darkness and they're just too afraid to bring it up to light.
Exactly.
And they just leave it there. And then because of that, that can lead into, you know, mental health issues.
Exactly.
Like physical health issues even.
Exactly.
Right? Because of all that suppressed energy, negative energy within you.
Yes.
Like, it really transforms, like, it really affects your body.
Exactly.
And your mind.
Exactly.
And that's why people get into depression, anxiety, you know, and body pains and, like, insomnia, you know, because they're living in fear.
Exactly right.
And it's suppressed.
It's suppressed.
Yeah, but once we, you know, in this time, you know, bring everything to light, like, you have to deal with it, but it's not an easy process.
No.
People will bring it up to light, but then they can't face that darkness, that themselves, really.
Yeah.
It's that, you know, the biggest enemy is your enemy, right? You know, so then they get stuck in that cycle. They bring it up to light, and, you know, it could, they try to deal with it, but then if they can't, it just keeps going.
Exactly.
And it can even get deeper and get worse.
Exactly right.
You know, but it's necessary. It's just a necessary thing to be really woke, like, to be awakened, to be able to really deal with things properly. Like, you have to bring it up to light, but then once you overcome that, that's when you elevate.
Yeah.
And that's where you become better.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That is exactly
And then it's not just, like, one facet of your life. Like, you got to look at it in, you know, you physically, you know, like, mentally, emotionally, and like spiritually, like, in a lot of aspects in life. And I think what I've been going through probably for the last 6 months, like, I've been going through a lot of, you know, struggles as well for myself. But because of going through that struggles, I wanted to be honest with myself. I wanted to be able to be better and deal with my darkness, the things that was holding me back. And I was able to go through it despite of the things I was going through. Right. And I feel that now, because of that, I feel that I'm elevated because of that. And it doesn't mean that everything's perfect. Like, there's a lot of things in my life, especially now, like, you know, there's a lot of things, there's still struggles that I have to deal with. But just the fact that I was able to deal with a lot of all the suppressed things in my life that I grew up with. Like, I got kicked out of home when I was 19. Like, you know, I live with, you know, I've been on my own for a long time. Like, you know, I've dealt with loss. You know, I've had to make big sacrifices in my life. And, you know, like, coming up from a broken family and all that, I think that was a lot of suppressed feelings within me that sort of, like, held me back, because I was still blaming, like, the things that happened, you know, because of this, because of that. Whereas it wasn't about all this. I realized about everyone else, it was about me.
Yeah.
You know, and once I made that self-actualization that, you know, it was about me, every situation and experience I've had in my life now, in retrospect, it doesn't necessarily have to be negative anymore.
Right.
But a blessing and lessons.
Exactly right.
So that what I thought of was a negative experience before now is a positive experience because I can now grow from it and learn from it, you know. And I think that's an important thing. Like, that's about thinking positively, but not ignoring the negative things in the duality in life.
That's exactly
right.
it.
Because no matter what, we're gonna have good days and bad days.
Exactly.
And right now, these are rough days. So you know, we really have to, like, you know, I really wish for the betterment for everyone to be able to work through this. I really wish everyone, like humanity, can pull out of this and come out better at the end. But I think it's important within ourselves to really look within ourselves and, you know, be better for us so that we can be better for others.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And I think that's happening on a this kind of this consciousness, this thought is occurring, you know, on a global level. Yes. Yeah, it's like that's a conscious, and I think
collective consciousness,
that's exactly it, you know. And while the time now is somewhat in fear, the duality, the two sides of the coin, the other side of the coin is well, actually there's a good time for us to like hone in on what we need to work on, right? Whether it be like spending time with the family more, you know, or like trying to figure out your next step, whatever it is. I think I think one of the most important things I'd learnt from what you were saying is that, you know, like one of the ways that I'd looked at things that are negative and positive, I almost try to avoid those words sometimes now, because of a lot of the other clutter
right
that's around that when you talk to someone about being positive, I know you know much deeper, but sometimes when certain people mention these words, positive, negative, they are almost very skewed to become like, that's really negative, you know, like that's really positive, man. But
I mean, I was like that too, like, you know, with past like relationships with people, like I was trying to be on this positive vibe all the time, but then when I'm hit with something negative, that it's like, I can't deal with it.
All right, thus that positive becomes a negative. That positive
becomes a negative,
it
but
has its duality as well.
Yeah, that's right. But that's when you start accepting both.
That's exactly
is a part of life, regardless. Exactly right. But it's just dealing with those negative, because everyone can deal with when times are good. When no one really like, you can be happy, like it's not a struggle. You can live life. But it's only we're truly tested once we're in struggle or in pain, you know. And that's where true growth occurs, like just like training.
You said it
right. And when your muscles tear, that's when they grow.
Right.
And that's the same thing with your mind. That's what same thing spiritually, your soul, you know. So
it's that shadow side, you know. It's that shadow side that is kind of the way that I look at it now. You know, that the shadow side is not exactly what you were saying before, not necessarily a negative thing. You know, there's a positive to it. You know, I think it's this weird, like, disassociation, this what's the word? Disengaging from this, practicing a non-attachment to, because you know, some of the things that you're saying brings up the power of now, I believe.
Oh, bro, that book changed my life. The power of now, of like being present. Being present in the moment. Where what I learned from Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, by the way, I recommend this book. It's life-changing, because I was already on a spiritual journey myself when I read this, and it was weird because when I was already going through my things, I realized a lot, I self-actualized a lot of things within my beliefs on who we are, who we truly are, and how we are all connected. And with the Power of Now, it just really solidified everything. And it really helped me hone in on being present in the moment, because what I learned is that with the Power of Now, you have your mind and your body, right? And your mind is your past and your future, right? Where you can go into your mind and think about the past, which was a problem, right? And it can keep you in that cycle, and you're not present because you're living in that past. Or on the other end, on the other spectrum, you're thinking too much in the future, where like, what if this happens? What if this happens? And then you sort of get stuck in the future, and you're not really focused on the present or what it is right now, because whatever problems happened before or problems that may happen after isn't really a problem in the present.
No.
Right? So then it's only in the present moment that you realize where you have your true power. the power of right now.
Exactly right.
Because it's what you do now that can affect the future. And it's what you can do now and your mindset on how you, your perspective on things, on how you can deal with the things that was wrong and like that was negative in the past.
Yes.
Which doesn't have to be a problem.
Exactly right.
Right? And it can be a lesson for you in the present to go towards a future that you want to make. Right?
100%, man.
And the other thing with the power of now was your body, which is your sort of like your portal, right? It's your gut feeling, it's your intuition. It's that feeling where, you know, like especially when it comes to like, you know, people going through anxiety and depression, they can get very lost in their pain body. That's what it is. And because of that, it affects everything else, and they get stuck in it. But what we have to realize, like this is like on a spiritual level, is that I really believe in energy, that we are part of something bigger, that we're a vessel of something more. And by knowing that, and knowing that you have that power, that we're connected with the stars and everything around us, we can look at ourselves as a soul and be an observer of your mind and body, right? So that you don't necessarily have to be in your mind and in your body and let that overwhelm you and like let it overcome you, but be an observer of that. And it's okay to feel bad. It's okay to feel negative emotions. It's okay to think in the past or future, but you use it as a person to, like, for your being to observe those emotions, those thoughts. Then if you're aware of that in the moment, then you can manifest things really quickly. Once you're really aware, once you're aware of, I'm going to start thinking about this, and you know, you're already aware that you don't want to get stuck in that cycle, just bring it back to the present.
That's exactly it.
Or you start getting lost in the future, they bring it back to the core, bring it back to the center. You know, or you start feeling, why am I feeling this way? Like all this shit's happening, right? But then you look at it as a being, as an observer of your body, but then you say it's okay. But then because you're like detached from now your body, it's like that detaching from everything else, but also detaching from your mind and your body, like you can work through it.
Exactly right.
Just because you're aware, it's like bringing up the darkness into light. It's just being aware of yourself.
Yes.
And once you're aware of yourself, that's the power of now, man. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy because like I've only read the first 2 chapters of that book.
Yeah.
And since this whole shabozzle has been going down, I just haven't been able to be present and just like I'm sitting here right now, the book's right in front of me, I should read this.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the things that have already stood out in the first 2 chapters is how you are not your mind and you are not your emotions neither, that your thoughts, that whole like not being present because you're dwelling in the past, or you're ruminating is a good word that I learned from my psychologist. You're ruminating in the past, or ruminating, thinking about the future, that those things that happened in that feedback loop start to become your emotions. So now you're starting to get angry, or you're starting to get fearful, or you know, you're starting to hate things. You know, it all stems from fear, right?
That's right.
But then your emotions, because it's a emotional manifestation of your thoughts, start to become a physical manifestation of all 2.
That's right.
You know, and then all of a sudden, you're unwell. Yeah. You know, and
that's when you're stuck in the corner of your bed and you're just locked up and then depressed. You're like, I can't move. I don't want to do anything. Yeah, and we've all been there, man. I've been there. Like, I can't deny. Like, I'm sure everyone has been there, man. Like, I'm sure everyone goes through their struggles. You know, but there's a way to be able to go through it, and everyone has a power to. Like, everyone is capable of, you know, coming out of it, regardless of the environment. I know, like, we're lucky to be in this country. Like, I'm grateful to be able to have the life that I have now. Even the struggles that we have to face now, I know that there's so much more people out there that have it a lot worse.
Oh, bad.
You know what I mean?
Bad.
And I guess even just that perspective, you know, just so like if everyone's watching this, like that are going through their struggles, but they live in Australia, they live in a first world country, be grateful.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be really grateful because things could be a lot worse. Right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, you know, like my endeavours back to you know, discovering my roots, my heritage in the Philippines, you know. You're just like, fuck, these dudes, they don't even use tissue paper, man.
Double, bro,
you know?
double all
Like,
day.
boom, like front styles or back styles, and then you're like getting that, you know, that savory Nutella.
Bidet, man, how's that bidet in Japan though? I've never. Yeah,
bro.
it's accurate. Eh? They go right up to the.
Yeah, well, you got to learn
chocolate starfish.
You can just like learn to like thing it out. But the thing with that style is because you don't actually touch the anus.
Okay.
You don't know if there's residue, bro.
Oh, right.
So you still got to get the tissue. I mean, there's a dryer there, but
ash dryer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like there's so many buttons. Like it's overwhelming. Imagine like your armrest there. Yeah. You just like stop.
Yeah.
Is that a play button?
Is that a massage? Is that massage my glutes?
Yeah. Is that like a mystifier for the ass? Because it's like a person sitting there like that, and then there's like a mist icon.
Yeah.
And then there's another one that's like a
like the one that targets straight in the.
And it's kind of like, ooh.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's some crazy stuff. Yeah. Like.
I mean, your first time, did you feel violated, or it felt nice?
I'd been violated before.
Yeah, your salad toaster.
Yeah, you know, like that's part of my traumas. Nah.
Yeah, that's why I'm too pretty to go to jail, bro. Right?
Yeah, no, you can't. Yeah, it's pretty hardcore there. Yeah. You know, the jail of the mind. Yeah,
the jail of the mind, bro.
You know, no, it's crazy, but it's all those things, and to be able to laugh about these things, you know, it shows a level of like, you know, levels that you've gone to. Because some people, I feel like they don't even realize why they have a knee-jerk reaction, crack the shits, or
they're very reactive.
Yeah, very, very, very.
And that
reactive.
I think that reactive is just not being aware of themselves.
No.
Just the fact that something happens and then it's their body and mind just reacts straight away.
Exactly.
And they're not really really observing it and understanding of the situation.
Exactly right,
you know?
man. And that reactiveness is, you know, also is due to not being aware of what's going on around you, and you can't know everything. But there are healthy ways to sort of like at least pinpoint why you're reacting, you know. And I think this is where the world has sort of like regressed, because most of us are on our phones. This is probably going to be watched or listened to through our phone, you know, through the technology. That's actually what's being taken advantage of, our reactionary impulses, right? And so yes, people are dying from COVID-19. It's friggin' got a hectic strain in Italy. Yeah, like whatever the facts are, but no one is quite mastered, right, this fear element just yet. You know, like, okay, wow, there's people dying everywhere, man, like for centuries now. But now that this COVID-19 is around and it's been thrown in your face, and then you're worried about all this and that, the fear gets heavy. Yeah,
that's right.
But it's just like, but man, like, do you want to live the next 48 hours to, God knows, maybe the year of just constantly being in fear? You'd probably end up like internally dying. Yeah, you know.
That's right. Well, one thing I actually learnt, because like when I was going through my awakening last year, I was fearless. I became fearless. Yeah. And that really empowered me. And it made me make big moves and big risks in my life, and really transform my life. Like I was, on my BMI, I was actually overweight last year, I was telling you. Like, and I managed to, like, you know, lose 18 kilos in like 3 months.
Bruh.
You know, and that's all part of that awakening, I believe, because I was able to get out of fear and using that willpower to empower me in bettering myself in physically, and which opened up my portal, my body, and which gave me willpower in my mind to, you know, not like really cut down on smoking and even my vices, and emotionally, you know, be able to be resilient, you know, be powerful, and really have like a force field of all the negative energy around you. But going through that point where there was no fear, what I realize now is that with duality is that fear will always be there. So I think something that I've learned recently is that now I have to embrace fear, because fear is a part of life. But it's more so on dealing with fear, making fear your friend, right? because as much as I was on that vibe, on that wavelength for a long time, like it was for a few months where nothing could mess me, like because of the things that I've been through last year and the sacrifices that I had to go through and the struggles that I went through, like nothing could touch me. But then I feel that looking back at it now in retrospect, that might have been a bit naive because I was just on that vibe that, you know, I fear, I don't want to, I've been in fear before and I'm on this now, fuck fear. Right? But I think that because of everything that's happening, it really put it back in perspective that, because I started feeling that fear, I think because of everything, it's just, it's there, but it's not letting, now the fact that I've like surrendered that there is fear, but don't let it overcome you. And using it to manifest as your friend, like, and to drive you to make moves and to keep moving forward rather than to hold you back.
That's exactly right.
So don't be afraid of fear, let fear be afraid of you. You know what I mean?
Word. That is fucking, bro, that makes me want to have a cigarette now, man. You're legit, but like, you know, I think one thing that I can draw from that, bro, is that, you know, it's constantly transmuting these thoughts, these emotions, you know.
And once you're so aware, like even when I got to a point with me where, you know, like, for example, like before I'd go into anxiety or depression or whatnot, and, you know, you go into a thought process and everyone's been through it, where you go into that thought process, it goes deeper and deeper and you just get worse and worse and worse. But once you're really aware, is that once you start, you're aware of your thoughts straight away. You're like, oh, I'm starting to think this. Observe it. And since you observe it and aware of it, then you can quickly transmute it straight away. That's exactly right. Yeah, so even before it comes to here, before it comes out of here, it doesn't even come out of here. And whatever you're aware of before it comes out, it's already manifested itself.
That's exactly it. Which is separate from the suppressing, right?
That's
the
right.
Suppressing is like, I'll deal with that later, or you just ignore it.
That's right.
And then you might even forget about it, but then boom, it just takes that one trigger for it to all come out.
Because you have to realize that when you're thinking about that, it's probably from your past or your future or what we're worrying about, the problem. But then being present is that it's no problem. It's no problem during the present, but it's what you can do to mitigate those problems from happening. You know, so we can always take action and always make movements to keep moving forward. And, you know, no matter what, I know that it's not going to be easy, but that's what we have to do to survive.
That's exactly right. I think it's really important to state here too that, you know, like, to make fear your friend. You know, if I was to create a visual for you, you know, Minority Report style, instead of like these panels in front, right? Oh shit, well, I'm faced with fear. Right? And let's say it's the fear of like not having food because it's all gone at Coles, you know what I mean? Whatever supermarket, then boom, you've observed this feeling, and rather than being reactionary to it in that way where you're like, oh, panic mode, whatever, the reactionary thing to do is to be like, right, like, what are your options, dude? You know what I mean? Like how do we deal with this, you know? Like, or do I first need to take one step back and be like, no, you'll be all right. Okay, like, you still got time. You know, if it was 2 weeks like that, 1 month like that, you haven't eaten a thing, it's a whole different story. That's survival mode.
Yes.
But right now where we're at, and for majority of people, I think, it's just like, suss out your options. You don't need to hit, you know, rock bottom just yet. And then that omnipresent,
just being aware of everything around you, right? Just knowing that there's always an option.
Exactly right.
Right? You have a choice.
That's the transmutation right there. That is like why I think things like competitiveness in the right way helps build resilience. Because in that moment there, boom, you're about to go shoot that goal, or you're about to go get that hit in, but you're in fear because this dude's gonna hit you. You know what I mean? Like, you can pretend, I'm not scared of this heavyweight guy, whatever, or that team, whatever, but deep down you know these dudes are gonna roast you. But then that's the game. You're trying to build resilience. So like, I either go out putting up a fight, or I succumb in fear. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just like, it's to be put into these situations. And I think now that it's hitting like a real life situation now with this whole lockdown business, no one could have been prepared for this. But it's almost like, if you have a background in in competition of some sort,
Yep.
you know, or you've been out camping, or you've gone out hunting, or you've grown your own crops, or you know, you've been fasting for a long time,
Yep.
and you can just live off water for like 3 days.
Yep.
You know what it's like
Living
to
off
starve.
the dew of the leaves in the morning, like, bro.
Man, you know, like
The energy of
like
the universe.
scraping the bellout from your neck and going salty.
Yo.
You know, using the dandruff and
Oh, yes.
for flavors.
For flavors, huh? The essence of the universe, right?
Yeah, you know, or breath.
Bro, have you seen, like, there's this, I don't know, it was like a while ago, there was this group, I think somewhere in Asia, where they would not eat, but they would eat through the energy by looking at the sun. Like, they just stare at the sun, and that's how they eat. Like, getting energy from the sun, like, just staring at the sun.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah.
I'd like to see one of those dudes, like, also have this crazy, and there's been a few dudes I've seen on YouTube, man, like they exercise full on. I don't know where they get their energy from, and they're not anorexic from the lack of physical nutrients, proteins, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Just like, well, how do you do that? So there must be some kind of truth, unless that's like
It's
some really well scripted.
Well, do you
shit.
think, like, we were discussing this earlier with Wim Hof,
Yes.
right? So, like,
There we go. Yeah.
his philosophy is that, like, through his training, through his ice training, his breathing and meditation, all that, he's able to control his body in ways where he's able to control his core temperature in ice cold water, or he's really reduced his sickness by raising his immunity, by sending energy in his body, because his mind's so strong that there's that connection with his mind and his body, that he's able, like in the Shaolin monks and stuff, right? How how they can use that chi, which is energy, and focus it on certain points of their body, right? Which will, like, really harness that power, because I really believe in power. I feel it, like,
Same.
and we have the capacity to, like, we're like fucking X-Men, like we have superpowers, but but it's not to that extent.
No.
But it's the power of mind is very strong.
Yeah. I think the fact that we can imagine these things is a result of it being within us.
Yes.
So while I just get this postal delivery, continue. Yeah, nicotine isn't bad, man. It's everything else that's in these sticks.
I mean, look, tobacco, if you look at it, 100% tobacco isn't actually bad for you.
No.
It's all the preservatives and all the crap they put into cigarettes these days that is harmful.
Yeah.
But then again,
So is everything else.
so is everything else.
So, before...
You were saying, like, what I went through in my awakening that really helped me go through things.
Yeah.
Well, I thought about what you asked me with that, and I think looking back, I went through my awakening. It started mid-year for me, last year. But my journey started a long time before that already.
Yeah. Right.
So about 3 years ago, I raised an Alaskan Malamute. His name was Astro, and, like, we've had him since he was a pup. By the end, he was like 70, 80 kilos. He was bigger than me.
Wow.
He's my wolf, really.
Yeah.
And he got cancer, right? And it was a very aggressive bone cancer, and we had to make a choice to put him down.
Oh, that's hard.
Right, and he was 10 years old at the time. Well, 8 years old at the time. And that was probably one of the hardest times I've had to go through. I had him in my arms when, like, he was on me when, like, you had to put him down.
Oh.
And, that really affected me and put me in a downward spiral with things. And it came to a point where it was really affecting the relationships around me, because I wasn't okay within myself at that time. And, at that time I wasn't aware, I wasn't woke, but I saw the negative effects in my environment, and I really came to a point where I wanted to make a conscious decision for myself to be better. be better as a man, be better as a human, as an individual, because I didn't want the people around me and the relationships around me and the environment around me to be affected and have negative effects from the things that I was going through. And that's where I know that my journey really started. And from that point, I got into meditation. Started reading books. So every day, just trying to learn little things within myself that can elevate me. Whether it's just a small thing, from a little thing like, physically, for example, like, I can eat some crappy food, or, I can just choose to make a healthy choice.
Yes.
Or like, like if I just having that willingness to learn, from having the openness to learn that the information is out there that I'm seeking, that, I can apply it. Like I can learn, like, you can try this ritual for this day that can help you, with your goal setting or whatnot, to get your mind right.
Right.
You learn it, but you have to apply it. And those little things just start stacking, right? And next thing you know, like you continue to keep going, and the things you keep moving forward, and just having that mindset of, with my mindset, I wanted to be consciously better.
Yeah.
And that just like kept piling on, and I got to a point where I was like, I've never really read that much books after high school.
Wow.
Right? I've read here and there, but like for that first year I read like 5 books, which is more than what I read in a decade.
Wow.
Like, you know what I mean? And I really got into self-development and mindset, and applying those things in my life. And I think, but the biggest thing is meditation as well. That's something I religiously practice all the time now. Like, if anything, I do that first thing in the morning.
Right. As soon as you wake up.
As soon as I wake up. Not sometimes, like, like, I'm not the type of person sometimes that I wake up and I'm like, all right, let's go. No. So I'm in bed. Like, my thing, I wake up, I'm like, okay, I'm still in bed. Just put in my earphones and start and go through my meditation. And actually, one thing I've been practicing is meditating with frequencies as well.
Right.
So I know there's like 432 megahertz, which is like the love frequency. And there's 528 megahertz, which is like your manifestation frequency. And there's a lot of other frequencies that, opens up your chakras, different like chakras and pineal gland and all that sort of stuff. So I've been practicing with that, but like doing guided meditation. But even when I first started meditating, it was actually meditating whilst I was reading.
Interesting.
Yeah, because when I was reading, like, through the self-development books, like, there was just certain things that really resonated with me.
Yeah.
Right? And it really made me look within myself because of something profound that I've read. And during those moments, instead of just keep going through it, I'd stop and really take it in. And that's when I actually just stop and just meditate, like in the middle of reading a book, and then I just find something profound that I can apply, like really bring it to center by, being aware of that within myself and how I can apply it. And and I think that's when I started meditating. And I didn't even know, like, when I started meditating, that I don't know what the processes were. It was just really about breathing, just being aware. But then it came to a point where I was meditating, but then it felt like I could activate certain areas of my body would just tingle.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And I'd eventually develop my own mantras within myself that I'd say within my mind, and suddenly that would activate certain things in my body, and I could feel energy run through me.
Wow.
And by being in that state, it's really changing your emotional state. To be able to be in an empowered, like, prime state, to be able to make moves.
Yes.
And by doing that every morning, I think is very crucial. Like, it's actually, important for me. Like, sometimes if I don't meditate, it messes up my day, like, because my mind's not right, it's not clear. Right? But
hasn't been primed.
But if you do that first thing in the morning, have the clear mind, you're able to then take on everything after that. So I think, right now, what's really helping me is I wake up, I meditate, I have my plan for the day, I actually do a gratitude thing for myself.
Nice.
So that's a really important thing, right? So like part of like a chat group, or like reaching out to someone, or like, you know, messaging my daughter or something, like to send love of what things that you're grateful for.
Word.
And if you practice that every day, then you sort of practicing living in gratitude, right? And by living in gratitude, you're vibing on that frequency where you're grateful for everything that's there. Therefore, that law of attraction then comes back in return.
Yeah, word.
Right? And, you know, especially through my awakening, man, I met with you. I met with a lot of like good people that align and that understand this. And it's that law of attraction that brings people together. And, you know, and for example, if you're in a negative vibe, you're just going to bring negativity to your life.
Yes.
Right? Because you're really just the world is a reflection of yourself.
Exactly. You are what you eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like a radar. Yeah. When you're seeking something, you're sending out the signals, right? And then attached to that, a condition. Yeah. Like a positive or negative, you know, property, right?
Yeah.
And then it's almost like then you become a beacon for that signal. So that's this thing that starts to come towards you. So funnily enough, I've met a very positive, awakened person, but he also suffers from having to smoke the cigarettes as well. You know what I mean? As an example.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just the things that happen, you know, like you resonate with certain people for the longest time. Sorry to interject.
No,
like,
of course.
For the longest time, bro, like, I was attracting a lot of negative people, man. And, you know, not to throw them under the bus, but it's like I realized the issues were very similar to mine. And they were all the steps we all needed to take. And I hope they are all in a good place. Some of them I haven't spoke to in a while. To find, you know, within their journey, that awakening.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's very interesting how this thing might seem like very like new age and wishy-washy, but it's truth, man.
Yeah, man.
This is truth.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I was never on this spiritual vibe. You talked to me 1 year ago, I wasn't on this.
True.
You know what I mean? And it's just weird, like the things that have just, the knowledge I have just come through my life, and the things that I've been through has just put me on this spiritual path. Like, look at me, I'm not like no Dalai Lama. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's me.
That's this guy.
No, that's not me.
Yeah. You know, but you know, I grew up as a Catholic. You know, and you know, having religion there as a core, but then once I grew up, I sort of detached away from religion. You know, because then I started seeing how religion was used to manipulate masses as well and control people. But I think part of my awakening was realizing that there's a purpose. There was a purpose with religion. And it was more so about the connection with your source, with your God, with energy.
It's like a foundation, yeah?
It's a foundation. That's right. So it's more about, it's a vehicle, or like it's like religion is there to help people within themselves, to empower them, to save themselves. You know, that's what I realized. And now, because now I've come peace with religion, with my with growing up as a Catholic, because for a longest time I got a tattoo on my back with, you know, angel and the demon fighting, because I've always had conflict with religion after high school, because of everything that I've been through. Right. But now embracing that, and you know, it's just because I grew up with this belief, this core value of being a Catholic, you know, I came to peace with it, and just realized the importance of it was just the relationship with not necessarily like God as in the Catholic God, but God, the universal God that connects us all in energy. Yeah.
Wow, that's some crazy shit, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on a tangent here with that.
Yeah.
Right. There's something I was gonna say before you felt into that stream. I'll see if I can tie some other elements to it, but this whole like universal law of attraction, you know, and how it works for certain people. What I find really interesting, bro, is how many circles, because you're from New South Wales, yeah?
Sydney. I'll be back soon, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They're locking shit down.
Yeah, man, you gotta get back to your friends and family, yeah? but that, you know, like we were interacting amongst the same circles for a very long time, and it's only now that we met. 15 to 20 years later. How fun is that? You even came to Melbourne. You might have even recalled me at an event. And we're still trying to figure that one out. If that was
Battlegrounds 2004, man.
2004. I got a feeling I was potentially there. I might have been wearing a red shirt, if I remember.
Wow, you still remember the shirt?
Yeah, I'm one of those. That's been that ability's been coming back. I remember obscure things. Like I'll talk to you in 10 years. Be like, remember when you came over, bro, and you were wearing the Lakers outfit? You know, and you burnt your jumper.
Oh, dude, man.
Yeah, sorry to bring it up again, but I didn't mean to do that. That's all right. You'll be able to fix that.
I'll be all right.
Those things, you know, like it's funny how that seems to be a common occurrence with me now, bro. You know, and
because you've been through your journey, like your work too, man, and you know, it's a thing I guess that needs to happen. You know, is it destined? Is it part of the gift? Is this something that everyone can have? You know, I'm not sure, but I think there are a lot of people, especially our age, you know, us older millennials, are going through this moment of like having to face things, right? So the point I wanted to bring up was, as soon as you started talking about being Catholic, the image came, and it's got nothing to do with Catholicism, but it's like I was walking through your neighborhood July last year, maybe just as this whole thing was starting for you, you know, like it was kind of like I'm in Ropes Crossing, right, with Alteri, a dude I hadn't really spoke to for years, you know, a dude that was on the other side of the fence. Those dudes hated us. All right.
You know, I mean, maybe he didn't hate me, but there was definitely like
the rivalry.
You know, and you know how rivalries can blow up to different things. And all of a sudden we were on the same sort of level because, you know, he's gone through very similar things in his journey, and only to then find out that you lived there too, you know. Like, I mean, what are the chances? What a coincidence. But it's almost like I've clocked Melbourne, for example. I've clocked Melbourne, you know. I've been an Uber through Melbourne because I'd already clocked Melbourne before that. I know the most places, like of course there's the little bits within communities and suburbs that I don't know. I didn't know that Milk Bar was there, or this shop was here, whatever, you know. But then even within that, you're like, oh, dude, I know this place. My friend lives up the road there. You know, it's almost like when this next cycle comes in, this next wave. Sorry, I hope I'm not losing you.
No, all good.
It's like, boom. It's like, right, this is part 2 now, or part 3, or whatever part you're up to. Where, boom, now you get to expand those dimensions, or you get to like hone in more on a focus area. That I was walking in your neighborhood, that we were dancing and, you know, interacting in the same circles, but not interacting with each other.
That's right.
You know, this is a weird way of this law of attraction kind of thing. You know what I mean?
It's like it's weird. Like it is like
You know what it is? Sorry. This is how I'll just tie it back to the Catholic thing. It's the prodigal son, bro.
The prodigal son.
You know, oh, this is it. We've got this. I'm a dancer, man. I'm all about this life. You know, oh yeah. You know, Ropes Crossing. I'm all about this. This is the best area, man. If Macca's is up the road, RSL's up the road. You know, 7-Eleven's there. I can get ube ice cream and the factories around the back there. St. Mary's in. You know, I know that place.
You know it,
bro. You know, if you were on next level, you're like, yeah, we can go to the dispensary and get like heroin shit. You know, like, you know, whatever it is. Like the kebabs are right there too. You know what I mean? But jokes aside. It's like, but then, I'm bored of this place. I don't want none of this shit anymore. And you leave. You go, you know, you self-exile yourself, or you are exiled, you know. Only then, and, you know, quite funnily, in this example, you're back there immediately. You know.
And that was part of my purpose of coming to Melbourne. Like, you know, like I was a dancer since... I was in my first crew was like 97.
Wow.
And it was my sister. Shout out to Mel, my sister. She's the one that got me into dancing, like, because in music, even hip hop. You know, she was listening to Warren G and Snoop Dogg and
G,
you know, Tupac, Aaliyah, all that, you know, and Fugees, and that really, you know, got me into hip hop and the hip hop culture. And it was more so the music.
Yeah.
you know, that really I resonated with. And with that, she started a dance group. It was called DV8. It was like, it was
You know, I used to run an event called DV8.
Oh really? DV8?
Eight.
Oh,
But
really?
no, DEVI8.
8. Oh right.
Or the V8, yeah.
Yeah.
So close, but
Pretty close, man. Yes, there's parallels there.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was my first dance crew, and it was pretty much my sister and all her girls. So I was like, it was me and one other guy named Carlo
Whoa.
as well. Yeah, so that was my
How
first.
does that work, man?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it was good. It was like my first run-in with like dancing in a crew, and after that I got into. What did I get into?
Was it group steps straight away from
No,
that?
it wasn't group steps. I went to Philippines, and then when I came back, I went to Philippines in year 9, yeah, for a year, and then came back and met with some crew, met some guys and girls, and we started Kinetics.
Kinetics.
You remember Kinetics?
That rings a bell. I reckon I would have seen
Yeah.
Kinetics.
So
Sorry, before you
No, that's
continue,
cool.
what does kinetic mean?
Kinetics, like kinetic energy, just the connection, the like I know from like dancing, like how we were doing stretching before, like kinetic energy, how everything's connected. So like if you're just moving this, it's not necessarily just your hand, but it's your arm, which is connected to your chest, which is
Right.
connected to your core, which is connected to your everything.
Right, so it's like the current, the circuit of it
yeah.
all being together.
That's right. It's like, you know, when you're shooting your free throw, it's
Yeah.
not just your arm that's moving, but
Yeah.
it's from your base, from your feet, and it comes up, and it's coming up from your core and your body, and you release at the top.
You check that form.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
flick of the wrist.
Flick
Yeah,
of the wrist.
Flick of the wrist. So that's for me. That's kinetic energy, and that's your body moving as one. So that was kinetics, and then that was a mad crew. Like that was during high school.
Right.
We did like philo fiestas and
Right,
competitions and all that. I think we did elite or groove.
So you would have been what, year 10 by this stage, or was this
Yeah,
already-
yeah. It was like year 10, year 11
Yeah.
at that stage.
Tell me, was there any more peculiarities in when you were in kinetics? Like, you know, first in DV8, 2 Carlos, and then the rest women, right?
Okay.
Girls, and
This
then
this
then
one
women.
not so much, but
Was it boy girl, boy girl, boy girl?
Yeah,
Was
yeah. It was more. We had
pairs.
2 girls. We had 2 girls.
Mm.
Jamil and. Oh fuck. No, I can't forget her name.
Forgive him. It's been a long
Forgive
time.
you, it's been a long time. Oh man, she's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a bunch of guys, like brothers and sisters, that
Interesting.
lived close to me, and like some school friends, and
Right.
that guys that was just like into dance.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And with you guys doing the Philo Fiesta, was that like just because of a connection and there was opportunity, or did you guys have inroads, or was there like do you remember at that stage you're like, we need to do this for the fiesta?
No, like we just got into a crew,
Yeah.
and we were just dancing, and next
Yeah.
thing you know, because I think back then that time was good. Like
Yeah,
that
those
time
were
was
the
good. Like
years.
like early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like you know, like 2000s era.
Yeah.
Dance culture was fun. Like it was good. It was thriving. You know.
Wow.
And that's when I actually started going para PCYC in year 11.
Right. And
Yeah,
that would
so
have
that
been...
I haven't really done breaking because I just didn't grow up with that environment and people around me, and I grew up with 4 sisters, you know. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, it wasn't really, it wasn't within around me, you know. Like I'd practice things here and there, but no one to really teach me or mentor me. So it wasn't a really thing that I fully got into until I started going into PCYC and just saw that world, and it just blew my mind.
Wow.
You know.
That was what, around 2000?
2001.
2001.
Yeah. So before that, after that I joined another dance crew. It was MC Jam. So these guys were one of the guys that started was part of the old crew called the Reality Boys, DRB. Like back in the day, like 90s. These was like when psychedelic and All that was around.
Yeah, those names are ringing bells. What's funny is DRB is the name of a popping crew I know in Adelaide.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Dr. Boogie.
Oh,
Yeah,
Dr.
DRB.
Boogie. Yeah, these guys were the reality boys.
The
reality boys. So they were like the street boys of Sydney.
Oh, so they sang as well and stuff like that.
Oh, like they're just mad dancers.
Right.
Yeah, and they were breakers and stuff. Hey.
You still working today?
Nah.
Cancel, right?
Yeah. You too?
Yeah, I'm working.
Are you working today?
Yeah, after school care, yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Should I just message them? No, right? And if
up
I
to you.
go there,
It's up to you. Sorry, we're recording. Yeah.
That's all good. No, it's all good.
No, it's gonna stay.
We're live.
We're live, man. Yeah. Nah.
And then what I was saying was like when I started going para PCYC, I think that point,
Yeah.
you know, I was actually, you know, going through my own struggles then because I wasn't getting along with my stepdad at that time, and that's when I was more of a street kid. You know, hanging out at para.
The real boys.
Hang out para, squatting on the red seats in front of the station.
Oh,
or like,
I remember those red. They're not there anymore, are they?
No, they're gone.
They're
and
gone.
like, or hanging out playing CS, Counter Strike.
Yo, that was that
what I mean?
time. Yeah.
And like, or go out drinking at some place. Like, so,
Wow.
My life at that point wasn't going in the best of directions.
Right.
But that was when I was going para a lot. But then I think I really feel that what helped me out was then me going to para to go PCYC, to just hang out with the dancers. You know, and I didn't necessarily have to be dancing or try to be, you know, trying to be a b-boy, all that sort of stuff, but just being in that environment, in that community, in that culture, by making those friends and connections, I think really steered me away from that path.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and that's why I really feel like after that, like I've been in a couple, like my last dance crew was Groove Steps, and after that, and that was my crew for a long time after that.
Right.
Yeah, and that was my first time in Melbourne when I came down to Battlegrounds, where it's Sydney versus Melbourne, and where I could have potentially met you at that time. But
so I remember a few of your crew members.
Yeah,
on the
like
photo
yeah, like
Insta.
Katrina, Jojo, Johan, Joey, like and
Yeah.
Vic, Tao, Hien, like they were like really cool cats, and like they took me in, you know. How they took me in was actually I was in another dance crew because they asked me to choreograph for this little production, and they were having an event at like this Filipino restaurant on Church Street. I remember next to Westfield. I don't know if you've been there. We go up the stairs.
Oh no,
Yeah,
never.
but there was a Filipino joint up there, and we had an event, and yeah, we danced. We performed one of our routines that we choreographed, and I think Grace was there from Groove Steps, a couple people, and yeah, they just saw me and they scouted me, and from then they asked me to join. And at that point, I wasn't really in a crew. I was there to choreograph, and I was dancing with the people I was dancing with, and that's when I'm like, yeah, I'm down, like, you know. So that was with Groove Steps from that time, and it was an amazing time, and
crazy.
I think that's why, you know, especially with, you know, going back to like when I was hanging out para and I was a street kid, and you know, but dance really sort of got me in away from that. You know, there's guys there that's, you know, that some stuff, you know, like hasn't been good for them, you know, like by living that life. So that's why coming back to Melbourne, you know, after all this time away, because my last time I performed or battle or anything, exhibition or anything like that, was like, what, 2008, so, or something like that. It's been a long time, man.
Yeah, it's 12 years ago.
It was 12 years ago. And I think because of everything coming back around now, I felt like, even though I stopped dancing, like I just dance for myself at home, like, you know. And that's why I think I really honed in on my own individual movements, because I think I grew up in choreography, where it was more so about movements in a group, and I couldn't really I didn't really hone in on my own individual foundations and styles and movements, right, which I sort of worked on after all that within myself. And now it's come back around now, like 2019, 2020, where it's still a love for me, like love of movement.
I can tell, bro.
Yeah. And because of that, I know that I'm not there to go in competitions to be the best, to be the dopest, all that, but because I know how much it's empowered me in my youth, especially, you know, it felt like I wanted to give back to that culture, you know, and help out people that is in that now,
Yeah.
You know, and not necessarily just in dance, but as an individual, as a creative individual. You know, and that was part of the reason for me to move to Melbourne. And you know, everything was going great. Like you know, we had met with some great people, things were coming into traction, but unfortunately this COVID just turned the world upside down. But that's okay. Because regardless of what's happening now, I know that this is gonna pass. You know, and the fact that we're doing this today, that we're connected now, you know, and I've connected with the people here in Melbourne, like with the culture, I know that we can potentially do something to elevate that once everything passes. You know, and there's going to be opportunity for that. Just the fact that how is the world going to be once this is all over?
That's exactly right. Yeah. It's it's just as much exciting as it is scary, you know?
Yeah.
It's just funny. This is just how things go down, you know. The reason why I was paying particular attention to, you know, like these little peculiarities, you know, like two colors, and then, you know,
right.
It's because it's again that potential power of now. Yeah, I mean, we are talking about something in the past, but like if you are aware of these things, even just for yourself, but I'm sure there are other people with a deeper knowledge and understanding of these things. It's like these are the patterns that exist. It's like the math. You know, it's like there's a symmetry about that. Let's say your group, so we're going real left field here.
That's all good, bro. But I like going left field. All right.
You know,
hit it out of the park.
That's
man.
why you're here, man.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, let's say there's 5 in your deviate crew. It's your sister, 2 of her mates, and then the 2 colors on either end. There's a symmetry, you know what I mean? There's like, then even when things are slightly off, like there's, let's say 5 girls and 1 guy, or you know, however a shape formation is. I think this is the key that maybe dancers don't really think of, you know, on a much more spiritual level. You are forming that energy into a triangle shape. You are forming that energy into 1 block and 1 solo. You're creating these bridges. You know, it's
a collective energy.
It's a collective energy, right?
It's
It's just as much kinetic in the whole group as it is in yourself.
That's true, man.
Right?
That's true.
And then when you start to take that into an even more macro view, that you guys as dancers going out and being a street kid, playing at CS, you know, Tambai, hanging out, loitering at the front of the station. I was doing the same thing here. So was a lot of other people our age. So as a lot of people coming back 12 years later or 20 years later going, I still feel like dancing. I actually love dancing. You know, I need to get back to it. You know?
And I think that I love the fact that this passion has reignited, because that also helped me losing weight and getting the best shape of my life, because I was planning to go, I was going to go LA to visit my dad. And one of my bucket lists was like, I need to take a class at Kinja's studio. Because like I've always loved their style, like with isolation and everything. Like you know Kinja's, right? And like one of the guys from Jabwalkies is a part of them as well. So I was like, man, I want to.
Was that right?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
So I was out of shape at that when I decided. Well, when I knew I was going to Melbourne, to LA. So I'm like, that's when I started, you know, like getting me physically in shape, because I want to do this class just to be able to get through the class.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? But not only did it help me become in the best physical shape I am ever, like at 34, but it allowed me to go through that class, but then reignited that passion in dance even more, and helping me get my groove back. You know, and that really led me, since that really ignited everything, and you know, wanting to do something for the culture, like whether it's in events or sharing knowledge or just being involved in the community, that made me move to Melbourne, because I knew that this is the creative hub of Australia. As much as I know how much talented people are everywhere in Australia, and in Sydney as well, I know that the infrastructure's here in the city, and the government really supports that. And I guess because of everything else that I was going through, I wanted to try a fresh new approach to it in a new city, and I know where there's potential, right?
Wow. But
unfortunately, you know, with everything that's going, like I've had to stop business. So that's the stuff I'd had to deal with. Like I was going through anxiety like a week ago, I was telling you.
You're saying.
But just being aware of myself and knowing that I've felt that way before, and how I know how to deal and process that and work through it, because I haven't actually felt that way in quite a while.
Right.
It was quite bad. Like felt like the whole, like someone, you know, like ripping the rug under you, like constantly, and you're just like frazzled and shit, right?
Yeah.
But because of my recent experiences of being aware of how to deal with it, like it just helped me get over it quite quickly. Like, so it took me, you know, about a couple days to, or close to a week, to really be okay with everything and accept everything, because I know that it could have kept me down there, and it could have just let me, like, kept me in that space, and I could have just been in, you know, in a bit debilitating state where I couldn't make any moves, or I'd just be depressed, and I could just let that overwhelm me and not want to pursue what I wanted to come here for. But now, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm still here talking to you, because I still know that I have a purpose that I want to give to this world, and that's more important than, regardless of everything that's happening, as long as I have that goal within myself, and as long as I keep feeding it and keep working towards that, I know that's something that's fulfilling for me. Like, you know, it gives me purpose, you know, and I think that's really important to have.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. One thing that I was going to add on top of, you know, these patterns and things like that was, it's funny, you know, this book too, you've probably read the whole thing. I haven't yet finished the Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
That was my first book I read on my self-development journey.
Right.
That was my first book, man.
I need to complete that book. And isn't it interesting how he says in that it's almost only until you are struck with such like a tragic experience, like a death or a loss of a limb or something, that you actually just wake up from that point on. You know, that this kind of thing is constant. You'd suffered anxiety prior, but here it was a week ago because of, you know, your original intentions. But again, it's just another platform to learn that lesson.
That's right.
To then like get another leg up, because it's just going to keep on happening. It's just,
because I was actually at a point where the first couple of days I was like, fuck it. Whoa. You know, and I'm like, fuck it, I just don't want to do anything. I'm just going to stay here and wallow and just watch Netflix and chill with myself. You know, and it just got worse. Like that feeling just stayed, and I knew that I got to keep moving. Otherwise, I'm just going to stay there. So, and once I started, you know, getting back into my daily habits, my routines, because I sort of neglected that during those days where I was like, fuck this world, like what I've given so much time, energy, money, sacrifice to move down here for this purpose, and now this, and I have to give this up. But I knew that, you know, if I don't have a goal, if I don't have a purpose, I won't move forward.
Exactly right.
And so,
and if you didn't give it a shot, you would have never known.
That's right. And if I didn't give it a shot, I wouldn't have connected with the city and the people, you know, and I'm grateful for that. And once I realized that, you know, that regardless of everything that's happened, it's not over. It's not over at all. And this is just another hurdle that I've got to cross. But it's also given me a foundation to work off by being here. By being here right now, talking to you guys.
That's exactly it, man. You literally went straight into the dragon's mouth.
Bro. Yo.
That's some crazy
I mean, like, just thinking back, I'm like, man, if I didn't move a month ago and I was planning to move now, like, I wouldn't even be moving. You know? And in a way, I'm like, fuck, that's sort of like my mentality at that point when I was going through anxiety. Man, I'm like, oh, fuck, I invested so much time and energy and money, and then this happens, you know, like, man, I could have just waited. But then that's me thinking, oh, what if this, what if that?
Exactly.
I can't change that.
Can't change that, man. Can't. And sometimes you gotta strike when the iron is hot, and the iron was hot at that time.
The iron was fucking hot, bro. Yo, new year, new decade.
That's exactly
man, and like new purpose. And I like shout out to the Melbourne community, like creative community here. Like compared to when I had my hip hop brand in Sydney like 7 years ago, like there was a lot of talented people, and I respect all the talented people in Sydney like that really thrive. But the city didn't, like the city and the rules in place, like with the lockout laws, like didn't help it. Especially the live music scene.
Yeah,
Didn't help
man,
it thrive at all. Like even the fans won't come out because
you guys had a great scene back in the early days,
bro, yeah.
but then it died.
Yeah.
These laws fucked it.
Yeah, it did. And that's why when I came to Melbourne and then seeing this of what's like cultivated in this culture, it's so connected and so supportive. And it's great. Like they've really learned how to utilize social media for like even like scheduling of jams for the people that jam out on QV on the streets and stuff, you know what I mean? So it's like an organized ecosystem for the community. And like even this the dance studios would help collab with the people that just jam on the street, and like the different genres within dance, and even the live music and the DJs, like, you know, it was really good. That's why it was really disheartening at one point where I saw the effects of what's happening with the world now with COVID-19 and how it's really affected the creatives and that event space, you know. And I really feel for those people. And, you know, like I was telling you yesterday, how it kind of sucks how when they were saying when the Australia was on fire with the bushfires, it was about the creatives and the hospitality and the event space that really uplifted the nation, to give them hope and life, right? But then when this tragedy hit, it's the creatives and those events and the hospitality that won't get, you know, any benefits, really. They're the ones that's getting hit. And I saw, like, you know, the OGs in the space that's been a while, that they don't know if they can keep going. Like the jobs, there's gonna be no work for them. They're gonna have to really find other ways to survive. You know,
that is exactly it, man.
So it kind of sucks, you know, that it's happened. But I think in a way with the creatives now, the fact that we're forced to isolate ourselves and look within ourselves, I think this is the best opportunity for you creatives to create. Start creating, start working yourself. You know, so when the time comes, once all this blows over,
exactly it.
Just do your thing.
We have to bring our operations and, you know, action them remotely now. Which, on another tangent, is like an ability, you know what I mean? The fact that you can send love remotely. You know, even if you are not uploading things to the internet, you know what I mean? Like,
even if you just upload it to your friend, like to a loved one, send out a message, you know, like send out some love, you know. That's what we need, man.
That is exactly it, man. And I guess, man, you know, as much as dire as things seem like on the news, and perhaps in certain circles, things that you hear when you go to the supermarket, you're scrounging for that last toilet roll. You know, it's still, the future still seems quite exciting. Like, we will get through this. We will get through this. It's definitely a thing we're gonna get through. You know, I think people are they're just afraid of that happening now. You know what I mean? Like, what am I gonna do? Just like, bro, just breathe the air. Feel the sun. Feel the cold. You know, spend some time with your kids. Start with your kid. You know, like that. You probably won't have that opportunity again. And
that's what's like. I was planning to stay here indefinitely in Melbourne, but because of things that's happening, like we put in perspective what's really important at the moment, which is why I'm moving back to Sydney in the next day or so. Because before they even locked down the borders, where I'm stuck and I can't even move. And like I think right now, I want to get
stuck in Albury.
No, hell no. So, you know, it's just important to me to be close to family at this point, especially at this time. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to stop creating. It doesn't mean that I'm going to stop with my purpose and my vision, or stop with me trying to better myself. That's still part of me and how I live, you know. And as long as you have that mentality within yourselves, you know, we can get through this together. You're not alone. We're not alone.
We are not alone.
No.
Damn, bro. Masterful words there, bro. Thank you so much for coming through, dude.
Man, I appreciate it,
bro.
Dude, like, I'm really grateful for the fact that, you know, I was able to connect with you. You know, we both understand like our journeys of what we've been through, and we can really vibe on and resonate with that. And I really feel that, you know, there's a lot of creatives out there and people out there that will resonate. This will resonate too, because this time right now, people are going to start going through their journey of awakening.
Yeah.
Right? And use this opportunity to look in yourselves. I really hope you guys do. And the more you do and face yourself and elevate yourself from that and become better, the easier things will get, and I promise the world will change for the better.
But amen to that, man.
Love y'all, appreciate y'all. Lama, my man, love you.
Thank you so much, Jose-Carlo.
So, yeah, I appreciate it. And this is my first podcast. So,
it was a dope first podcast, man. But you know what that means? To be continued.
To be continued, man. So even though I might not be here physically for the next one, but we're going to keep this going.
What do you mean, bro? You will be here for one of the future episodes.
I'll be back, man. I'll be back in Melbourne because I can't, like, especially the things that we want to do, I'm going to be back.
Yeah.
So once this fucking COVID shit is over, I'm going to fucking tear shit up.
That's it. Move out the way, y'all. Move out the way, y'all. COVID-19 got shot. Bro, thank you. Perfect. 122, bro.
Yo, I can't believe we talked that much.
Yeah, bro. I felt like we could have kept going, but I
felt like I could keep going too.
Yeah, but I was sensing like the way that that last bit was wrapping up. I was like, I could have wrapped it up even earlier. But I was just like, no, keep going, man, keep going. And just kept them.
No, I'm glad you wrapped it up because I don't know. It felt like you just keep going, bro.
Yeah, no.